towards a path of peace and justice. The Kuki-Zo Insurgents' Complex Journey Ahead by Vijayanta Singh. New Delhi Extended Analysis by ZalengamMedia Opinion Polls. As reported by the Hindu journalist Vijayanta Singh, and further explored through in-depth public opinion polls and ground-level insights by ZalengamMedia, the government of India is poised to resume formal dialogue with Kuki-Zo insurgent groups in Manipur. This significant development, scheduled for June 9, 2025, marks the first such engagement in nearly 2 years and comes in the wake of prolonged ethnic violence that erupted in May 2023. With renewed focus, stricter conditions, and a fragile hope for reconciliation, these talks represent a critical opportunity to address the grievances of one of India's most marginalized hill communities, the Kuki-Zo, while navigating the complex socio-political landscape of Manipur. A fragile pact revived. The Kuki-Zo insurgent groups, signatories to the suspension of operations (SO agreement since 2008, will engage with representatives from the Ministry of Home Affairs, including Northeast Advisor A.K. Mishra and Senior Intelligence Bureau officials. The SO Pact, designed to curb violence and foster political dialogue, had been a cornerstone of relative stability in Manipur's hill regions for over a decade. However, in 2024, the Manipur state government unilaterally withdrew from the agreement, a move widely criticized by Kuki-Zo leaders, civil society organizations, and neutral observers as a politically motivated decision lacking evidence of any significant breach by the insurgent groups. Senior officials from the Ministry of Home Affairs have clarified that the SO will not be automatically reinstated. Instead, negotiations will focus on establishing stricter accountability measures, with new conditions that must be mutually agreed upon before the pact is revived. This cautious approach reflects the central government's intent to balance peace-building efforts with heightened oversight, while addressing the deep mistrust that has emerged following years of neglect and recent violence. Historical context and the SO framework. The SO agreement, initiated in 2008, was a tripartite arrangement between the Government of India, the Manipur state government, and various Kuki-Zo insurgent groups, including factions under the Kuki National Organization, KNO, and the United People's Front, UPF. Its primary objective was to reduce armed conflict in Manipur's hill districts by bringing insurgent groups into designated camps where they would cease militant activities and surrender their weapons for monitoring by central and state authorities. For over 15 years, the agreement largely succeeded in maintaining peace, with Kuki-Zo groups adhering to its terms, despite significant challenges, including inadequate funding and poor camp infrastructure. The abrupt termination of the SOO by the Manipur government in 2024, just before the ethnic violence of May 2023, sparked widespread controversy. Kuki-Zo leaders argued that the decision was not based on any documented violations, but was instead a strategic move to marginalize their community amid rising tensions with the Meitei-dominated state administration. This withdrawal exacerbated the sense of abandonment felt by the Kuki-Zo people, setting the stage for the catastrophic violence that followed. The 2023 ethnic violence, a turning point. The ethnic clashes that began in May 2023 were among the most devastating in Manipur's recent history. Over 200 Kuki-Zo villages were razed, hundreds of lives were lost, and tens of thousands of people were displaced, forced to seek refuge in relief camps or neighboring states. The violence, primarily between the Kuki-Zo and Meitei communities, was marked by targeted attacks on Kuki-Zo settlements in the hill districts of Churachandpur, Kangpokpi, and Tennupal. Almost immediately, several Meitei political leaders and sections of the info-based media pointed fingers at the Kuki-Zo SOO groups, accusing them of instigating and participating in the violence. These allegations were met with strong denials from Kuki-Zo representatives. Dr. Seilen Haokip, spokesperson for the Kuki National Organization, emphasized in an interview with The Wire that the SOO groups remained confined to their designated camps throughout the conflict, fully compliant with the agreement's terms. He further highlighted the dire conditions in these camps, noting, "There has been no stipend for years. The infrastructure is crumbling, and most camps are barely habitable. There is no effective management or support. The deplorable state of the camps, coupled with the lack of resources, raises serious doubts about the capacity of the SOO groups to orchestrate large-scale violence. Many Kuki-Zo community members and independent analysts argue that, had the insurgent groups been involved, their presence might have strengthened the defense of Kuki-Zo villages against the coordinated attacks. Instead, the scale of the violence, marked by the use of sophisticated weaponry and systematic targeting, suggests the involvement of well-organized, well-armed groups operating with significant logistical support, identifying the aggressors, Meitei and UNLF. Multiple independent sources, including survivor testimonies, photographic evidence, and reports from human rights organizations, have pointed to Meitei armed groups, particularly Meitei and factions of the United National Liberation Front, UNLF, as key perpetrators of the 2023 violence. Meitei, originally established as a Meitei cultural organization, has transformed in recent years into a heavily armed militia. Its black uniformed rallies, access to advanced weaponry, and ability to mobilize rapidly have raised alarms among human rights groups and international observers, including Amnesty International, which documented instances of targeted violence against Kuki-Zo communities. Reports also suggest that Myanmar-based factions of the UNLF, a Meitei insurgent group with a long history of militancy, played a significant role in the attacks. The involvement of such groups, combined with allegations of inaction or selective intervention by the Manipur state police and security forces, has fueled perceptions of complicity by sections of the state machinery. ZalengamMedia's public forums and opinion polls conducted in the Hill districts reveal a near-universal belief among Kuki-Zo respondents that their community was left defenseless during the violence, abandoned by both the state government and the SOO framework. New conditions for peace talks to address these challenges and rebuild trust, the central government has outlined several preconditions for resuming the SOO agreement. 1. Relocation of camps. Existing SOO camps, some of which are located near Meitei-dominated valley areas, will be shifted to safer and more secure locations in the Hill districts to reduce tensions and enhance monitoring. 2. Reduction in camp numbers. The current 14 camps may be consolidated to improve oversight and resource allocation, addressing concerns about mismanagement. 3. Multi-agency monitoring, a joint mechanism involving the Ministry of Home Affairs, Intelligence Bureau, and local intelligence networks, will be established to track compliance and prevent violations. While these measures aim to strengthen the SOO framework, Kuki-Zo civil society groups have raised concerns about their one-sided nature. They argue that equal scrutiny must be applied to Meitei armed groups, particularly Meitei, which have operated with apparent impunity. The lack of accountability for these groups risks undermining the credibility of the peace process. Kuki-Zo public sentiment, a demand for separate administration. The violence of 2023 has profoundly altered Kuki-Zo public sentiment. What were once demands for equitable representation and constitutional protections have evolved into a unified call for a separate administration, seen as essential for the community's survival and self-governance. ZalengamMedia's opinion polls, conducted across Churachandpur, Kangpokpi, and Tengnupal districts, indicate that over 85% of Kuki-Zo respondents no longer trust the Manipur state government to govern impartially. Many view the 2023 violence not as a spontaneous breakdown of order, but as a deliberate campaign of ethnic cleansing, enabled by the state's silence or complicity. This shift reflects a broader loss of faith in the Imphal-based administration, which is perceived as dominated by Meitei interests. The demand for separate administration is no longer a mere political stance, but an existential necessity for many Kuki-Zo people who see it as the only path to ensure their safety, cultural preservation, and political agency. A path forward, dialogue rooted in justice. The tripartite meeting, scheduled for June 9, 2025, holds immense potential but also significant risks. For the Kuki-Zo community, peace cannot be achieved without addressing the deep wounds of the past. Key steps toward a just and lasting resolution include: 1. Disarming Meitei militias. Groups like Meitei must be disarmed and their members held accountable for their role in the 2023 violence. 2. Humanitarian support. Neutral, third-party humanitarian interventions are needed to assist displaced Kuki-Zo families, many of whom remain in relief camps with limited access to basic necessities. 3. Reparations and resettlement. A comprehensive plan for reparations, rebuilding of destroyed villages, and safe resettlement of displaced persons is essential. 4. Engaging with the demand for separate administration. The Kuki-Zo vision for self-governance must be treated as a legitimate aspiration, not dismissed as a bargaining chip. The Kuki-Zo Sioux groups have demonstrated a commitment to dialogue despite years of neglect, inadequate support, and baseless accusations. Their resilience in the face of adversity underscores their dedication to peace, a commitment that deserves recognition and support from both the Indian government and the broader public. Conclusion. As the June 9 talks approach, the stakes could not be higher. The Kuki-Zo community, battered by violence and systemic marginalization, seeks not only peace, but justice. The central government's willingness to engage in dialogue is a step forward, but it must be accompanied by concrete actions to address past wrongs and prevent future conflicts. By fostering an inclusive process that prioritizes accountability, humanitarian support, and political fairness, India has an opportunity to chart a path toward lasting peace in Manipur, one that honors the dignity and aspirations of all its communities. Sources. 1. Singh'S, Center to resume talks with Kuki insurgent groups in Manipur after nearly 2 years. The Hindu, June 2025. 2. Haokip, Seilen. Interview with The Wire. Kuki insurgent groups deny involvement in Manipur violence, August 2023. 2. Amnesty International. Manipur, ethnic violence and human rights violations. Report October 2024. 2. Forming polls on Kuki-Zo sentiment post-2023 violence, conducted in Churachandpur, Kangpokpi, and Tengnupal districts, 2024. 5th. Human Rights Watch. India, Manipur ethnic conflict displaces thousands, September 2023. 6. This Wire, Manipur violence, the role of Iran. Disclaimer. ZalengamMedia's analysis is based on national media reports, public statements, interviews with Kuki-Zo leaders such as Dr. Seilen Haokip, and localized opinion polls. While every effort has been made to verify information, ZalengamMedia is not responsible for the accuracy of third-party claims. This article aims to amplify underrepresented perspectives and contribute to a broader understanding of the Kuki-Zo community's experiences with integrity and transparency.